name's Kirk. I'm Ichi Hoya, and you're watching simnews.tv.
Hello and welcome to the slightly delayed round 5 of the GPVWC Formula Challenge, coming to you this round from Barcelona in Spain. My name is Mike Bell, and stepping in on cameras with me today is the Scrutineer Mike Pitman. Unfortunately, we've had a few technical issues, so we haven't been able to bring you qualifying. It was actually with David Krupa coming out on top at the end of things from his teammate Martin Hemmingson, ahead of Sandeep Singh, and then a great performance from Stephen Lexo to put him up in 4th. So several drivers impressing there in the qualifying session. Gives a slightly jumbled up grid. It's out as we begin the, or not really the beginning of the European leg, but a reset to the season when everyone comes to Spain. All the street tracks are on pause for a moment. Is having to take a wildly different approach to this rather technical circuit. Quite high downforce here everywhere, and apparently it's going to be really quite difficult in these cars with how they're set up. So we'll have to wait and see. A minute towards the race. So I think the biggest topic since the Baku round is the rebranding and repainting of the Crossfire team, henceforth known as AB Racing. Rosie and Mad Otter, so that's going to be Menno Klont and Jonathan Holmes in a new striking black and orange livery. A bit of a change up at the front, different colours to see. Currently in the warm-up session though, the team to beat seems to be KC Racing Esports, showing some good pace with Sandeep Singh and Miguel de los Rios making his return. How they go as the session ticks to a close and we're about to advance into the race session. Just running a bit further down the grid, Adrian Campfield, he set a time in qualifying good enough for 5th place, however is on the receiving end of a back of the grid penalty. So he's going to be starting all the way down at the tail end of this 30-car grid, but has the pace certainly to move forward, and being that it is Adrian Campfield, he's really good at overtaking, really take no prisoners. He's going to be one to watch race and could potentially even trouble the reverse grid for race 2. We will have to wait and see for a minute as the drivers just finishing their final laps in warm-up, getting a practice start under their belt before we go into this race. It's going to be 17 laps around Circuit de Catalunya. It's going to be an absolute nightmare for that front left tire. So tire saving is going to be the order of the day, and I don't even think pit stops are going to be outside the realms of possibility for some of these drivers. End of the Formula Challenge were littered with drivers trying the one-stop strategy, and back even in as far as 2013, drivers were really struggling to get the tire all the way to the end and even puncturing some of them. So the tires are a bit more durable and we're on a different sim now. So we'll have to see if it's going to run into that many issues or even be brave enough to try a one-stop. Overtake might not be the smartest of ideas, but one is into the pits, just waiting on David Krupa to load back into the game. Switching to the race session. Quick look at the championship standings while we wait on that. Is actually decided in the stewards room a change to the result for race 2 at Baku. The winner, David Krupa, was handed a time penalty that actually put him back. George Whitehouse, who is now going to be credited with the win. So first win for George Whitehouse this season, first win for Calamity. Don't want it to win it, but I'm sure they'll take it and be happy with the points. Whitehouse drove very well in that race, and that's going to put him up to 5th in the championship standings, equal with the only driver this season to have won more than one race, Martin Hemmingson. The standings is Jonathan Holmes, 107 points, 20 clear of Terence Grech, So Greg's going to be looking to make some progress on chopping that gap down. It will be difficult for him. He's going to have to come from quite a way back in the grid. In fact, he's qualified 16th. Bit due to grid penalties, and he'll move ahead of Campfield. But that's a bit of a journey to get 20 points. And then Dawid Krupa, who had a pretty torrid start to the season, but has been on a roll with 3 podiums in the last 4 starts, dragging him up into 4th. Equal on points with Whitehouse and Hemmingson, with Klont, Mateusz Jabinski, James Pinsker, and Adrian Campfield are going to be rounding out the current top 10 in the championship. We might be losing Dawid Krupa from this race, which will be pretty big considering he did qualify on pole. In sooner rather than later. We've got the word from race director that we will be moving to the race in a moment. The drivers wishing each other good luck. Everyone hoping to be clean through the first.
I'm James Kirk.
Race is a good start. As the R Factor man utters his famous phrase, we move into the race. Dawid Krupa did manage to get back in the start from pole position ahead of his Mouse 1 teammate, Martin Hemmingson. Qualifying from Stephen Lexo is going to be starting 3rd ahead of Sandeep Singh, who had his best lap time removed, it seems. 4th ahead of the championship leader, Jonathan Holmes. And a really good performance from Santon Racing's Daniel Hurlock to put the green car up in 6th, ahead of the Baku Race 2 winner, George Whitehouse, and Kasper Michalak, always up in the fray for PZZW. 9th is the second of the new AB Racing. 10th place is Hygo Poom. He raced in the Academy Series last time out at Bahrain, got a relatively impressive 2nd place, especially considering he made a mistake and then had to drive up through the pack. 2nd place, and he earned his way onto this grid here. Mateusz Jabinski, always a threat to the middle of the top 10, to the back of the top 10. He's going to be starting alongside James Pinsker for Go Team. 2nd in the championship with, I would assume by his standards, of relatively poor qualifying, down in 13th, but he's got a smart head on him, so hopefully we'll see him move forward. Rhodes for the iSim RS team. His teammate Rick Van Dorn was really impressive at Baku last time out, so Hayden's going to be looking to a bit more even, ahead of Alexander Ragoza, who's a bit further down than we used to seeing him in the 2nd of the PZZWs. Behind him is Patrick Roshak for Fair Racing Team, a really last-minute stand-in. I think maybe with an hour or so, less than an hour of notice. So great job for him to qualify up in 16th, ahead of Rick Van Dorn in the 2nd of the iSim cars. The RTD, he didn't show up till quite late today, so we're hoping that he's going to get into his groove, because that car, I think most people would agree, belongs a little bit further up towards the front. At the top 20 is Miguel de los Rios on the receiving end of an 8th place grid drop, and Sem Wong with his best qualifying all year to start on the very end of the top 20. Anik Malaika and Rodrigo Carvalho in the 2nd of the Razor and Racestars Namco cars respectively. Behind them is Arjen van Putten, 2nd Santon, then Gerrit de Vries 25th, Bartlemy Meshishik 26th, ahead of Lorenzo Emili, driver for Drive Game Seat. In the 2nd of the Academy cars, he's going to be starting ahead of Adrian Campfield in 29th. So we have lost someone in the transfer over to the race. Not sure who that is exactly, but leaders are lining up on the grid now. Back of the pack just making their way through the chicane, and then everybody is going to be ready for the start. Francesco Gianale we've lost in the Drive Game Seat car, so that's unfortunate for him. Hopefully we can see him in for the 2nd race. As Adrian Campfield back row of the grid, and they are all lined up now, so eyes back towards the front as the lights come on. 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's a good start from Krupa, a good start from Herlock all the way back on row 3 as well. Krupa clears ahead of Hemmingson, is going to try and draft his teammate down into turn 1. Stephen Lexo still up alongside them there. Sandeep Singh going very defensive, and they're 3 and 4 wide in the background. That's James Pinsker going big up the inside. A little bit of attack, but Greg's up to 10th, so good start from Terence Greg, but back in the lead. David Krupa holds it from Hemmingson. Lexo, Singh, and Herlock up the inside of Holmes. There's a big crash at the back we're hearing. James Pinsker involved, Tygo Poom, Philip Koenigs. That looks like it's just taken out the back end of the top 10. Maybe the low teens, so unfortunate for them. I think that could have been as a result of that 4 wide into turn 1. But a benefit. Oh, and that's Jonathan Holmes. He's had a big freeze. Jonathan Holmes has had a big freeze. Mikulak's involved. And that's Patrick Roshak as well recovering in the gravel. So a really messy start to this race. Adrian Campfield's already up to 19th from dead last. Ermis Rees and Garrett DeFries, other people who are benefiting. And just up ahead, Hayden Rhodes and Bartlemy Meshik going side by side through turn 9. That's brave. And Meshik does well to hold on to the car. But Hayden Rhodes gains the place, and now Meshik under attack from Lorenzo Emili, who's had a good start. 7th or something like that, up to 13th in the first half a lap. Krupa is starting to pull out a bit of a gap from Hemmingson, and both of them edging away from Lexo. The battle really is Singh versus Herlock for 4th and 5th, so Daniel Herlock has really come out of the gate racy. Whitehouse a bit as he's up to 6th. Greg already up to 7th from 13th. That is the first lap of a championship contender right there, but he's under big pressure from Alexander Ragoza. Greg goes heavily defensive. Ragoza's moving to the left on the way down to turn 1, going around the outside of turn 1 is possible. And hang it around the outside. He's going to go on the inside for turn 2, and that is a good maneuver from Alexander Ragoza up into 7th. And Greg now needs to be careful to not give Mateusz Jabinski too much of an invitation, or Greg might find himself slipping down the order even further. Dorn is up to 10th, so a good start from him from 18th and 19th, something like that. And Hayden Rhodes as well as hold position, so both the ICMRS cars up in the points and battling with Menno Klont in the newly rebranded AB Racing team. So he's going to be looking to score some points after Jonathan Holmes' freeze has dropped him all the way back down. I think he's still going. He's in 21st. He's battling with Roshak and Garrett DeFries. They're all over each other back here. And oh, Holmes and Roshak tag. And Jonathan Holmes is around. In turn 8, Roshak's around as well. They're both fighting for control. Holmes recovers, but he's going to lose a lot of places down to 25th. And under pressure from James Pinsker, Roshak down to 27th and in no man's land. So it's really unfortunate for them. And both the Mouse Ones continuing to establish their lead. Stephen Lexo trying to go with them, but Sandeep Singh is starting to break away from Herlock behind, and Singh gaining on Lexo. But the two people behind him, ahead of him in the championship, are behind him. As we've had a spinner at chicane, that is Ermis Rees, I believe, in the second Academy car. So a poor start from both Academy drivers there, with Poom in 29th and Rees now slid to 26th. Championship contenders behind him. He's going to need to make hay while the sun shines. He's going to need to pass Stephen Lexo and get up into at least 3rd place for this race. Not sure if he can catch the two Mouse Ones. They seem to be pulling away, but staying for 3rd is a definite possibility. Behind them is Herlock, Whitehouse, and Ragoza, all in their own little space. And then Terence Grech has a small train going. Mateusz Jabinski's right with him, and Menno Klont is all over the back of him. Klont having seen off both of the ICMRS cars already, and he's now on the attack of Jabinski towards the DRS zone on the back straight. I believe it's active this lap. Yes, it is. So DRS assistance. Let's see who's going to make a move. 10. Seems like nobody in the lead. Oh, that's Lorenzo Emili with a very late move, and he's going to lock the rears and spin. Just avoid everybody there, but that's a optimistic move at best, and that's going to put Mikulak and Sem Wong up into the points. So if Sem Wong can bring it home here, that'll be his first points of the season, and it'll be big points for Race Stars Namco, according to their championship position. Just in behind, Campfield has held position in 19th, so maybe he took some damage on the opening couple of laps, I'm not sure. Back attacking already. For him, it's going to be key. He's going to want to get up into that top 15 for a chance at reverse grid. As just ahead of him, it's side-by-side Garrett DeFries and Miguel De Los Rios battling for 17th. De Los Rios makes the move. looking to capitalize on the crashes that have happened to try and get themselves up into the points. 10, I saw Zubinski and Klont were exchanging positions. Then they went side by side through turns 1, 2, and 3, and that's dropped them off the back of Grek. Zubinski holds 9th from Klont, and the 2 ISIM RS cars closing in. Definitely going to have DRS on Menno Klont. Not sure if he's going to be able to make a move, considering how close Klont is to Zubinski. Zubinski doesn't have any DRS and appears to actually have the straight line speed edge on Klont on that back straight. So maybe a low downforce setup for the PLS racing team. We'll have to see how that works out into the first corner on the next lap. And these guys battling for 14th and 15th. Sem Wong doing everything he can to try and hold off Kasper Mikulak. He's looking left, he's looking right. Mikulak's looking a lot faster, but Sem Wong's just putting his car in the right places. Although he does get over the anti-cut, and that's going to give Mikulak the run. He's going to go round the outside of the final corner, and he's going to gain DRS. So I think this move is going to be done for Mikulak. Though, so can Sem Wong attack back? He's going to slot into the slipstream, and Sem Wong's going to look to the inside into turn 1, but the DRS to Mikulak is going to be too much. Going to gain that position. So Mikulak up to 14th, Sem Wong down to 15th. And he's going to be under pressure from Lorenzo Emili after that big mistake earlier. And Miguel de los Rios has made some lap times come in, and he's already on the back of Emili. They're going to be catching up with Sem Wong soon, I expect. Back towards the front, that's some dust being kicked up from Hemmingson, but Singh is within DRS range of Steven Lexo. Not sure if he's going to do anything on the way down into turn 10 this lap, although he does close right up under braking. There's about a car length between the two. Off of the corner, so maybe Lexo running a slower line in to gain speed on the way out. Vulnerable if someone tries to go late brake inside. In this battle for 11th and 12th, the 2 ISIM RS cars, one of them dropping a wheel, and Rick Van Doorn has certainly dropped some time on Zubinski, so Klont has made his way up into 9th. Zubinski down to 10th, and then the 2 ISIM RS cars having a really strong race so far, battling each other for 11th. That's going to be good reverse grid position for both of those guys. Just behind them is Meshishik from a long way back. He's up in 13th. Has the Mad Otter cars. That's Hayden Rhodes down the inside. And someone's off. It's Alexander Ragoza's off in turn 1 as we're hearing there's a crash on the home straight. That's Miguel de los Rios. He's back into the wall. De los Rios out of this race. What on earth happened there? De los Rios, he was on the back of Emili. Emili looked like he jinked to defend, and De los Rios was just too close and clipped the back of him and went around. That's really unfortunate from De los Rios, and Emili was lucky to get away with that. He's still in 16th, but under pressure now from the Adrian Campfield. Break in turn 1, that was Kasper Mikulak. He's dropped all the way down to 13th and is now just ahead of his teammate. So Mikulak making a mistake, costing himself there, as that's going to put Grek up to 7th, Klont up to 8th, and Zubinski and the 2 ISIM RS cars going forward as well, and Meshishik up into 12th. So more points for the PLS team. As Campfield has made the move, he's up to 16th. He's past Emili, so Campfield only one position away from that reverse grid draw and the point, or the single point position, and he's still got 10 laps to go. So can Campfield even break into the top 10 in this race, I wonder? It's going to be interesting to see, as he's going to look to range up on the back of Sem Wong ahead of him. Yes, but won't be making a move anytime soon. Speaking of moves, just behind it's Rodrigo Carvalho and Jonathan Holmes, as Holmes going towards the outside around turn 1. Sweep ahead, Jonathan Holmes up to 19th. We need to look at moving up through the field. Just up ahead, Mikulak and Meshishik going into battle. Kasper Mikulak made the move in turn 1, and now Meshishik being almost hung out to dry by trying to attack back, and up the inside, Alexander Ragoza. So the PZZW car is almost going through in pairs against Meshishik. Attack back through 7 or 8, but he will get DRS out of turn 9. And he's got a nice slipstream as well. See if he can do anything against Alexander Ragoza. Wide. And delays is opening his DRS. So the PZZW cars pull away momentarily. It's now on the ISIM-RS cars ahead of them. In 15th, Sem Wong back on the defense already. Adrian Campfield is right under his rear wing. Has a long straight and a DRS into turn 1. Good exit from the chicane though. Is it good enough to hold off? He will pick up DRS off the back of Meshishik. So he's not going to be a sitting duck here by any means. But Campfield's going to have a nice toe. I don't think he's going to make it quite by turn 1, but Campfield always closing the gap. As Sem Wong runs wide through turn 1, maybe carried too much speed in, as Campfield's going to look to the inside at turn 3. As Sem Wong shuts the door. But Campfield, you can tell he's looking hungry. Heavy pressure now into turn 4. So one mistake from Wong and he's going to be in a lot of trouble from Campfield. You breathe too much when he's attacking his Adrian Campfield. Look to the outside. He's going to look to try and get the run. He does. Sem Wong makes a small mistake. Campfield, he's not going to look to the inside at turn 9. That's a bit too much, but Sem Wong's going to run wide. Both of them going to have DRS. And is Campfield going to look to the inside under braking? But decided to tuck back in. So Sem Wong holding off Campfield for another lap. Cut towards the front. Still the same top 2. It's both the Mouse 1s. But in 3rd place, Stephen Letso doesn't have DRS. And he's got Sandeep Singh right behind him. Singh has been this season running high downforce settings, so he might struggle to DRS past Letso. And indeed, he does not make the move into turn 1. Higher wing will mean that Singh is faster through this middle sector. Hold on for the time being. Behind these two is George Whitehouse in 5th as Campfield and Sem Wong still side by side. Turn 1, but Sem Wong has held the position. Campfield got a much later turn in for turn 3 though. He's going to ease up the inside of Sem Wong and they're going to be side by side into turn 4. Going to go up the inside and make the move stick. Campfield from the back of the grid up to 15th. Sem Wong's not going to make it easy for him, but I fear that Campfield may now set his sights further up the road on the likes of Meshishik, Ragoza, and Mikulak. Going to do well to stay with him, I think. There's a small mistake there. I think that's Campfield away and clear. Ahead of these guys, though, the two ISIM-RS cars, 10th and 11th, Rick Van Doorn and Hayden Rhodes, both being reeled in by the two PZZW cars who are working together well. Mikulak pulling along Ragoza, so we might see a 2v2 team battle for the final position inside the top 10 as Rick Van Doorn runs very wide through the chicane. He's going to have a poor exit. Hayden Rhodes may have no choice but to try and attack him in order to save his own position as the two PZZW cars get the run out through the final turn. On Rick Van Doorn towards the inside. I think he's going to back out of this one. No sense these guys fighting. Oh, no, Hayden Rhodes is going to stick it. Rick Van Doorn's going to go around the outside and have to back all the way off, and he's going to lose positions to Mikulak. He's going to lose position to Ragoza. So Hayden Rhodes causing Rick Van Doorn to lose 3 positions in 2 corners there. Now Mikulak is all over the back of Hayden Rhodes to try and pass Ragoza, but to no avail. As the two PZZW cars making progress. Adrian Campfield's already caught and passed Bartlemy Meshishik, but Meshishik isn't having it. He's going to fight back on the inside of turn 5. And they're going to be side by side on the way down through 6, through 7 and 8. Meshishik's going to pull ahead, but Campfield's going to get the run. DRS down in towards turn 10. Just looking ahead in the ISIM-RS and PZZW cars holding station, but Campfield going to the inside of Meshishik. He's going to brake late. He's going to go for the apex. Through, and Meshishik. He had a great cutback going, but just gassed it up a bit too soon, spun the rear wheels up, and is spinning across the infield. He's going to lose place after place. Already down to 22nd. Going to be passed by Yannick Malaika on rejoin for 23rd, so that's really unfortunate for Bartlemy Meshachek. Of that is Sem Wong, who's now back up into the points, but he's already under massive pressure from championship leader Jonathan Holmes, who's recovering. Singh and Lexo still close up towards the front, but they're holding station for now. So the big battle, I think, is Hayden Rhodes, Kasper Mikulak, and Alexander Ragoza as they're battling for the top 10 position. And still in close company for them. And then a secondary battle between Sem Wong and Jonathan Holmes for the final points position. Grid position. So those are the two we're going to need to keep an eye on as Mikulak makes a small mistake. Fired it. As we're hearing that both the Mouse 1s are closing up. And in fact, Hemmingson is starting to take chunks out of David Krupa's lead. The gap now that if they fight, they shouldn't cost themselves positions. So we'll have to see. Both of these drivers still in championship contention, so I doubt there's going to be any team orders other than don't crash into each other. These guys, Lexo still holding off Sandeep Singh, and Lexo gets the run out of the final turn, so I don't think Singh's going to be able to, even with DRS and a slipstream, to pull up alongside into turn 1. Lexo's running a significant amount lower downforce than Singh, but behind, Menno Klont has caught Terence Grek. These two for 7th and 8th, Klont looking to the outside of Grek. They both have DRS. Klont has the slipstream of Herlock ahead, and Grek's going to hold it on the inside through though, and now they're going to attack into turn 3. Behind these guys, there's another battle going on. It's Jonathan Holmes. He's just DRS past Sem Wong on the start-finish straight. So Holmes up to 15th. Fight for 7th. Grek holds off Klont through turn 4. They both got Daniel Herlock just ahead of them, so it's going to be DRS versus DRS. 9, although they might just be closing in on Herlock. Their DRSs. As that is both of the PZZW cards up past Hayden Rhodes. So Hayden Rhodes down to 12th, must have made a small mistake. In fact, I think, yeah, he made a small mistake, ran wide in 3, I think that is. And then him in turn 5. So good move from Ragoza, as that's a big slide from Rick Van Doorn. That's going to put him under immediate pressure. Adrian Campfield. The leaders are side by side, and in fact they are. Hemmingson going to the outside of Krupa with DRS. Krupa's going to stick it up the inside though. Mates fighting like this. Krupa's going to hold the lead from Hemmingson. Battles are plenty as Herlock and Grek side by side. Oh, contact. A little bit of nudging, a little bit of wheel banging. Oh, and around. Terence Grek around in 8th place. I think that was just a little bit of contact. Didn't give each other too much room. Just banged wheels. Grek goes around. Does well to only lose 1 position from that. He's down to 8th, but under pressure from Ziabinski. Here's Hemmingson. Almost fallen back a little bit from Krupa on the first half of the lap. In with DRS, and we'll have to see if he's going to make a move into turn 1 next time by. As positions chopping and changing behind, that is Adrian Campfield. He's up to 12th, having passed both the iSim RS cars. We seem to be struggling in this middle third of the race. They've dropped now 13th and 14th, and with Jonathan Holmes right behind them as Holmes out into the gravel on turn 9. Exceptions, so drivers making the most of all of the available real estate out there, as Rick Van Doorn's going to run a little bit wide. Holmes going to stick his nose in, but back out through the kink of 11. Oh, back into turn 1 though. The 2 Mouse 1s right nose to tail. On that one, but had the door slammed shut. Lexo and Singh still holding station. Oh, it's Hayden Rhodes into the pit lane. That's got to be for a tire change. Pit with all his wings and stuff. So Hayden Rhodes going for a very late one-stop strategy. I think that's probably because he realized his tires weren't going to make the end of the race, which is going to be really unfortunate. He's going to drop all the way down. It's down to 23rd already. His battle for 16th I've just seen. Lorenzo Amili desperately holding off Gerrit de Vries, but with Arjen van Putten, Rodrigo Carvalho, James Pinsker, and Yannick Malaika all basically on top of each other going down the straight. Intense fighting everywhere. All these guys are fighting for his race 2 grid position, but Gerrit de Vries is not giving up on that. Amili. Again, the pit stop is going to put Sem Wong back into 15th, and he's all over the back of Rick Van Doorn right now. Mission's really settled yet. Campfield on the back of Ragosa is another one. Has pulled over a second on Martin Hemmingsen, so Krupa starting to ease away now in the final few laps. Hemmingsen's still got an accident. Lorenzo Amili from 16th, he's rejoining. He's down in 20th. Now Gerrit de Vries went off with him, so did these two tangle? Oh, yes, they did. Tangle going into turn 10. It's going to drop de Vries and Amili all the way to the back of this train. Back up ahead, Adrian Campfield down the inside of Alexander Ragosa for turn 1. Ragosa's going to stick it. Oh, a nudge! Ragosa stuck it on the inside. There was some small contact with Campfield, who did very well to keep that off the wall. Rejoins in 14th, and Sem Wong's going to sweep around the outside. He's going to be attacking Ragosa. And Campfield's basically going to say to Sem Wong, this is my position, you are not having it. Goes up the inside of turn 4 and back up the inside of turn 5. So Campfield's going to stay in 14th. With Ragosa, I'm not sure he's going to be particularly happy with that. He had the inside line where else was he supposed to go in that situation? But now Ragosa is going to be under big pressure from the championship leader, Jonathan Holmes. Feels the need to get past Ragosa, given the fact he's got Rick Van Doorn getting bigger and bigger and bigger in his mirrors every second. Bit of a sense of urgency to try and get up into that 11th place. Meanwhile, Kasper Mikulak is kind of driven away in 10th, so he looks to be relatively safe. Closest battle in the top 10 is back in the lead, as Martin Hemmingsen has closed in about 6/10 on Krupa in that last lap. Trying to struggle with tires. Not sure, but Hemmingsen certainly seems the quicker of the two mouse ones at this point. And towards the down the hill through the kink of 6 into 7 and 8. A bit wide. Hemmingsen's got a better exit and is going to have the DRS just after turn 9 as they both get on the gas, both with a good exit. Hemmingsen not going to do anything into turn 10. He's going to have closed up a second between them, so DRS and slipstream are going to be in full effect on the way down to turn 1, unless Krupa can get an absolutely amazing exit to this chicane. Hemmingsen closes right up though. They get a relatively even exit, so Krupa is going to be under pressure. Less than 3/10 of gap, and the DRS is open now on Hemmingsen. He's in the slipstream. He's going to close and close and close. Krupa feels the need to go defensive, and sure enough, he does have the need to go defensive. Hemmingsen draws up alongside, going to try and drive around the outside, but Krupa keeps the... And Dawood Krupa round the outside of turn 2 and back into the lead of the race. Hemmingsen and Krupa, they don't want to leave anything on the table as they're going to start this last lap. Wheel contact twice. Both drivers feel comfortable racing each other clearly, as Hemmingsen is not going to give up on this race win. Very well though, and Hemmingsen makes a small mistake through turn 5, just locked up, went in a bit deep, has a DRS zone to catch up. Positions changing behind, but I think this is the battle we need to be watching, as through turn 9 they go, and Hemmingsen's going to pop the DRS. He's going to get the slipstream. Gap is smaller. It's less than it was last lap, and with a bit of DRS before the start finish line, can Hemmingson sneak the win as Krupa runs a little bit wide, but going for that late apex, going to carry more speed off the corner into the chicane where Hemmingson seems to be a little quicker. As you can see, Hemmingson closes right up. They're both setting up purely for exit speed. Krupa gets out. Hemmingson gets out. They're going around the final corner. Dawid Krupa's in the lead. He's going to run close to the pit wall, and Dawid Krupa's going to take the win from Martin Hemmingson in a Mouse 1-1-2. Stephen Lexer with a great performance in third ahead of Sandeep Singh. Whitehouse is going to finish fifth. They were the team to beat, and sure enough, 1-2 in qualifying, 1-2 in the first race here in Spain. Stephen Lexo, a great job to finish third. Mad props to him. Sandeep Singh, when the people ahead of him in the championship have seemed to falter, he's going to pick up some nice points. George Whitehouse with a solid fifth ahead of Daniel Herlock with a strong sixth for Santon. Trek 8th. Zubinski just about holds off Mikulak to the line for 9th and 10th. Holmes is going to be 11th ahead of Campfield, so that's going to be an interesting couple of reverse grid contenders. Alexander Ragoza, Rick Van Dorn in 14th, and Sem Wong scores his first point of the season in 15th, just ahead of teammate Rodrigo Carvalho, who won that big battle for 16th ahead of Malaika, Gerrit de Vries, James Pinsker, and Philip Koenig to round out the top 20. To the finish after his tangle with Gerrit de Vries 21st, Patrick Roshak 22nd for the last minute stand-in, Hayden Rhodes 23rd after pitting for fresh tyres, Hygo Poom finishes 24th after a really unfortunate start, was last at the end of the first lap, and was the last of your finishers, with the retirements being Arjen van Putten, Bartlemy Meshachik, Urmas Rees, Alistair Khan, and Miguel de los Rios with that strange crash we saw on the front straight. A lot of work to do for the second race. Oh, well, now we can take a breath. That was an exciting race from start to finish. You'd always expect that from the Formula Challenge, but Krupa and Hemmingson putting on a display. Great racing between the two teammates, and really clean racing as well. They made wheel-to-wheel contact, but it's still really clean, aggressive racing. So great to see no team orders either. But then again, with both drivers in the championship hunt, you'd expect. And we'll have to see how they do when they have not got clear track. So the best they're going to be starting is row 5 in this second race. First grid, random draw between 10 and 15 up sessions. So that's going to be between Casper Mikulak, Jonathan Holmes, Adrian Campfield, Alexander Ragoza, Rick Van Dorn, and Sem Wong. Sem Wong scores his first point, then starts on pole. That'd be one hell of a story to tell the team about at the end of the race. As we are just waiting for the final drivers to get back to the pits. Rodrigo Carvalho rolling down the pit lane at the moment is the last man out. So as this race action-packed, there was still a few talking points, most notably the issues, and also Jonathan Holmes' big lap 1 screen freeze. Is that going to come back to haunt him again? Because you hate seeing races end that way or races being affected that way, but it did happen, and it took 2 or 3 people with him, which was really quite unfortunate, as we are now moving into the next session. So while we've got a moment, let's have a look at that last race. Fastest lap was and things like that. That's unexpected. Fastest lap last race actually went to George Whitehouse. Finished 5th. The fastest lap by nearly a quarter of a second ahead of Hemmingson and Krupa. Had a game crash, so I will get back into the server as soon as we can. Don't miss out on the reverse grid draw. But if we do, and I do apologize. This has unfortunately been a broadcast with a fair few small, let's call them hiccups along the way. I don't know, Mr. Cameraman Scrutineer, if we got a video we can play just to we treat you guys to a replay of the intro and some other things that we can find just to and get ourselves back sorted. Just count me in. And welcome back to round 5 of the GPVWC Formula Challenge from Circuit de Catalunya in Spain. After a very action-packed Heat 1, we have had the reverse grid draw, and it is going to be 11. So that is going to be a stroke of luck for Jonathan Holmes after having his race seriously affected by game freeze early in race 1. Has finished just well enough to score pole position for race 2. A couple of people I would like to do a quick focus on if we can is going to be Hygo Puma and Irmas Reese. They're going to have to be coming from a long way back, but these drivers have earned their way onto this grid by competing in the Academy Series, which the trailer has just come and gone for, with the next round of that being, I believe, 1 week on Tuesday. So head over to GPVWC.com and join the Academy Series driver market to get yourself involved in that. 45 people on the entry list. So if you want to race in a big grid with the potential to get yourself up into the career ladder, that is the place to go. Drivers currently on this grid having gone through the Academy Series, obviously Poom and Reese, as well as drivers like Daniel Hurlock, who are now full season competitors in the Formula Challenge. A career ladder system, this is basically the 4th tier. So we've got several more races coming up at Circuit de Catalunya across the next week, with the Tuesday being the Super Cup. Then on Wednesday, I'm going to be out on track myself in the Super League Lights, and then the big boys are out next Thursday in the Super League themselves, which here the Scrutineer, Mike Pitman, is going to be very excited to watch as his team ACR Zaxby look to try and reclaim their dominance that's been a bit stolen from them by Evolution so far this season. You did indeed win out at last time out, but that is in the future. And speaking of things that are in the future, tomorrow is going to be the return, round 3 actually. You said round 2, round 3 of the World GT from Portimao in Portugal. So that's going to be a bit of a different track that we've been racing at so far, as this warm-up's been cut a little short by the race director as we've moved into the race session now. The R-Factor man has said his thing, and Jonathan Holmes is going to be getting ready to grid up for AB Racing. Well, I think quick math says he's still the championship leader. Either way, he's starting from pole position. He's going to have a clear run down to turn 1, assuming he gets off the line well. Beside him, Kasper Mikulak. We saw him definitely fight in second place, so the PZZW driver, he's going to be an interesting challenge for Holmes on the way down to turn 1. Grid slots do have the inside line, so we'll see how that plays out. Third place, Mateusz Jabinski, always someone who's up there or thereabouts. It's going to be Terence Grech, the second place in the championship. Think he should have kept it after the first race, but my maths is a bit bad as they on the formation lap. Behind Grech in 5th place is going to be the second of the AB Racing cars. It's Menno Klont ahead of Daniel Hurlock, starting in 6th place, the same as he did in race 1. Hurlock with an impressive performance there, getting Santon some big points up on the board. Behind him, another driver getting big points up on the board for their team. It's George Whitehouse for Calamity. Singh in 8th for KC Racing. They look like a pretty dominant team's championship challenger in the first round, but unfortunately De Los Rios hasn't had the luck, and nor has Singh, to be quite honest. But Singh starting this race in 8th, looking for another clear one. The big surprise though, the big success story of race 1, Stephen Lexo, he's going to be starting in 9th. Started 3rd last time and just got on with the job. Stayed 3rd. We'll have to see what he like moving up through the field. And behind him are the 2 Mouse 1 cars, Martin Hemmingson and Dawid Krupa. We saw them racing each other in race 1. Now they have to race other people. See how they fare against those guys. And behind them, in positions from his race 1 grid slot, Adrian Campfield for Shork and Overtake. See if he can make more progress. He's going to be starting right ahead of Alexander Ragoza and Rick Van Doorn, who scored his first point in race 1. Is going to be 15th alongside his teammate Rodrigo Carvalho, ahead of Yannick Malaika and Garrett de Vries, with James Pinsker and Philip Koenig rounding out the top 20. Koenig starting 20th again. Amelie and Patrick Roshak. Roshak, one of the drivers involved in Holmes' screen freeze incident on the first lap. He's going to be looking for a nice clean race this time. It's pitted for tires. Maybe that was a faux pas. Maybe he had too much wear. We'll have to see how he handles this second race. Hygo Poom from 24th was really affected early on in the first race as well. Let's see how he can do. With Bartlemy Meshishik behind him, and then Hermes Rees, Alistair Khan, and Miguel de los Rios rounding out the grid, as it seems like Khan has fallen back a bit on the formation lap. We may have to wait for a moment as Khan's caught up. As everyone just starting to take their places, the final few cars on the grid lining up. Now as Alistair Khan has overshot his pit box by a length. And he's in position, so back to the lead. Jonathan Holmes, eyes on the lights. 3, 4, 5, revs rise, and away they go. And it doesn't look to be a good start from Holmes, but a good start from third place from Ziobinski, already up alongside Mikulak, and Mikulak having to defend from Grek. So Grek's going through. Ziobinski now making a move for the lead on Jonathan Holmes. Ziobinski to the outside. No, he's not, but he's left the inside open, and Grek's gone for it. Opportunistic move from Grek's not going to work out through turn 1. Holmes going to break away from Ziobinski, Grek, Mikulak, Herlock up to 5th, Klont and Singh on the attack, and there's a battle. That's Hemmingson, he's moved up to 9th, already disposing of Stephen Lexo, but Campfield is the aggressor. He's going to be passing. Oh, someone spun. That's Whitehouse. Hemmingson's involved. Rick Van Doorn's involved. There's several other cars involved as well. I'm not sure exactly who is, but Sem Wong and Martin Hemmingson have dropped all the way down to the back of the pack. So that's going to be a breath of fresh air for everyone that isn't Martin Hemmingson. They only have one race to deal with. There's another one happening. Another massive crash happening as they come down through turn 6, and Hemmingson's been involved again. It's still happening. Malika involved, Pinsker involved, Sem Wong involved again, Khan involved, Delos Rios again involved. That's so unfortunate, but back to the front, Jonathan Holmes is extending his gap. Ziobinski's held second from Grek, Mikulak, Herlock, Klont, Lexo, Singh, and Campfield up into 9th, and Philip Koenig already up 10 places, and we haven't even completed the first lap. He has got David Krupp on his tail, but then a huge gap, so it looks like maybe 11 cars affected, as Rodrigo Carvalho spins off from 16th. So Hemmingson, having been involved in that huge crash at turn 4, already now 1 place away from the points. So that's, I'll leave that one for the DC to sort out, but in the meantime, back to the pit lane as Klont with an aggressive move on Herlock, and Herlock over the anti-cuts, rejoins at turn 2, collects Stephen Lexo, himself of avoiding Krupa and Koenig when he rejoins. I don't know if that was Herlock going in too wide or he got a small touch from Klont. Either way, not a great rejoin from Herlock, and that's going to have affected Lexo. And it's going to give Lorenzo Amelia a good shot at going round the outside for 11th, and sure he does, the emergency driver for drive game seat. Really impressing in the opening stages here. The battle that's all the way back to 15th place George Whitehouse, who was one of the, I think he was the first guy to spin in that turn 4 accident. Not sure what actually started, but he was the first driver I saw backwards. DC to review as Ziobinski has lost 2 places. Grek through, Mikulak through, Ziobinski down to 4th, and Singh is up to 5th. He's got ahead of Menno Klont, and the always aggressive Adrian Campfield already on the back of Klont and Singh in 7th. Shore has a decent shot at maybe even a podium here, as they're going to come down across the start line to begin lap 2. Holmes' lead almost 2 seconds already from Grek, as we're having news that, that's someone around in the chicane. Probably Meshishik. Meshishik probably does the smart thing and escape there, but he was in backwards in the chicane with no front wing. Not sure why, but well. And Krupa and Koenig touching turn 1. And Koenig spin there. It's just a small bit of contact, and then around he went. Koenig back down to 10th, Krupa up to 8th. But this has not been the cleanest race in the world so far, and we're only on lap 2. Clean for Jonathan Holmes, started on pole position, just got a gap into turn 1 and is trying now to break away and doing a brilliant job of it. 2 seconds clear of Terence Grek, who's also had a good run after getting past Ziobinski. Mikulak in 3rd, PZZW started 2nd, poor start, but making progress back again. And then the fight, I think now, is Ziobinski against Sandeep Singh, who's looking to the inside with DRS. Not gonna happen. but Singh has got Klont and Campfield all over them, and Krupa closing in fast. That is Singh! Sandeep Singh, he's off! How did that happen? That was a screen freeze. That was Matej Yabinski. Sandeep Singh he screen freezed into someone and got flipped like a pancake last time out of Baku. This time he's the pure victim of a screen freeze. That's dropped him back down to 8, so a good recovery from Singh, although he's got his race 1 nemesis, Stephen Lexo, right with him now. Yabinski's held 6th after that, so that's, again, one of the really unfortunate things about screen freezes is you never know when they're coming or who they're going to affect. For this one, it didn't look like it had any race-ending implications, just and Singh, and that's Whitehouse and Ragosa. They're off, and Ragosa's lost his front wing. More contact between the two as they try and get back going again. This has not been a good example of the race so far, as the cameraman is doing something else out to me with what I assume was Daniel Hurlock involved. Of how the Career Ladder series is, we may need some additional front wing manufacturers come the end of the season. But nonetheless, looking back ahead, Klont is ahead of Campfield, Yabinski closing in, and Krupa is closing on all of them. So David Krupa, after being involved in that turn 4 melee, he's up to 7th. He's already on the back as Yabinski. Looking to set this one up into turn 1, I think. Closes right up on Yabinski. Does a good line through the chicane to get a good exit. Stays off that exit curb, off that yellow curb. Doesn't let it get under the car. He's going to be in the slipstream as Yabinski. They're both going to have DRS, but look at Krupa. He's just reeling him in. Offensive. Krupa looks even further to the inside. Dummies him. Goes back to the outside. Krupa's going to try and sweep it around the outside, but Yabinski says no way. Oh, and where's he gone? Oh, does Yabinski freeze again? I think he froze again, and again, he's affected Sandeep Singh. Froze back, and Singh was very lucky that time not to get launched into the sky, but has in fact lost another position. This time Stephen Lexo is the beneficiary, but David Krupa up to 6th with a good pass against Yabinski. Not sure if there's something actually up with Yabinski, but that's 2 screen freezes so far in the first 4 laps. That's you want to be seeing, as the leader, Jonathan Holmes, is starting to be reeled in by Terence Grech, only by a few tenths, but there's still enough time left that if Grech continues closing at this rate, he will catch him by the end of the race. And second. So it's these two championship first and second going into this race. We might see an on-track battle between them for the first time in a little while. Very solid job at staying in third. And ahead of this Klont and Campfield group, as there is more moving and shaking behind, is Martin Hemmingson. He's now up to 11th. Martin Hemmingson rising from the dead, it would seem. 2 of the first lap carnages. Now up to 11th place. It's a miracle he kept his car in one piece, but it's got to be absolutely battered underneath with suspension and steering issues. But Hemmingson disposes of Lorenzo Amili and is up into 11th. He's got quite a way to go to catch Philip Koenig, but still Hemmingson, any points from this race, I think will be considered a good job after that opening lap. As further back, that's Hurlock looking to pass Urmas Rees, and around the outside goes Hurlock. Looks like Rees almost backed out of this, knowing that discretion may be the better part of valor in his second race the way it's been going. But Hurlock up to 13th, Rees down to 14th, and Rick Van Doorn in close company of those two in P15, a long way ahead of Hygo Poom. So I think those guys are relatively safe for points unless they start tangling with each other. Towards the tail end of the field, Alexander Ragosa is still going in 22nd, but already we have 7 retirements. So the attrition rate's fairly high in this second race. Now have another battle. It's Dawid Krupa. He's caught his next opponent, Adrian Campfield. So this is 2 drivers who, personally, I love seeing these 2 guys go at it. Go at it against anybody. These are 2 of the most take-no-prisoners drivers out there. Now they're going to go at each other. This is going to be interesting to watch. Krupa gets the exit. Campfield's going to not have any DRS from Klont. Klont's too far away to help. Krupa's got DRS. Krupa's got slipstream. Krupa's got the run. And it elects to hold the outside. Krupa's going to drive around him to the inside and cover it back off. That's a good move. David Krupa up to 5th, and the charge continues. He's now got to make up on Menno Klont. But first he's got to drop Adrian Campfield, and I think with that mistake through turn 4, or through turn 3, that Campfield may be too far back to launch an attack. But just behind those guys, we've lost someone. Is that Jabinski again? Again having another freeze, this time while battling with Steven Lexo. Sandeep Singh, thankfully for him, not involved in this one, and Singh gets through into 8th. Jabinski down to 9th, and he really needs to be sorting that out if it's an issue he can sort out. As he's got Philip Koenig and Martin Hemmingsen closing in rapidly. Front, Holmes has reacted to Grek closing in. Holmes has picked his pace up a little bit. Grek back to 2.3 seconds off. And now arguably has to be a little bit more concerned of Kasper Mikulak very slowly rolling him in. Mikulak definitely making inroads on the TSA Racing driver as they come through the chicane. Not close enough for DRS yet, but Mikulak and Klont both gaining on second place Terence Grek. As we look back towards the back end of the points, Ermas Rees seems to be struggling quite heavily. It's probably looking at his steering inputs, could be rear end suspension damage, which he was back in the sort of area the melee was happening. It's solid bet he's got some heavy rear end damage. Starting to fall back pretty heavily now from Rick Van Doorn, and Hygo Poom, the other Academy Series car, is catching him up. These guys, although they're driving for the same team, they're not teammates in the same way that most other people are. They've earned their drives here. They've not just, been part of a team that's gotten on the grid. They've had to fight and claw their way onto the grid, and they're going to have to fight and claw their way to stay there. Try and impress other teams at this point, and then they're going to be back in the Academy Series race, I'm sure, trying to earn their way back into the grid for the next few rounds. As in closing in is George Whitehouse. He's just disposed of Rodrigo Carvalho, but these two seem to be a bit in a world of their own, but battling hard with each other. Looking back up ahead, Martin Hemmingsen in 11th is now all over the back end of Philip Koenig. So Hemmingsen could be about to break back into the top 10 as he's got a better exit, but had to lift back the throttle heavily because Koenig got some wheel spin on the exit of turn 10. They come through the chicane. There's not going to really be any a bit silly for either driver to just send it in there, because then they'll just be on the receiving end of a DRS down to turn 1. But I would imagine with the exit that Hemmingsen's got to the slipstream and DRS he's going to get, this could be a pass coming into turn 1. And indeed, Koenig moving into the middle of the road, not giving too much away. Hemmingsen looking to the inside for turn 1. Koenig's going to hold it around the outside, though. Good defense from Philip Koenig. End of the day, and just ahead of those guys, it's actually Steven Lexo is driver on the move. He's past Adrian Campfield, and Campfield there even giving a sniff of a chance to Sandeep Singh. So Campfield could be starting to struggle. We're in the middle point of the race. Hemmingsen to the inside of Koenig. There wasn't much of a gap, but Hemmingsen went for it anyway, and but Martin Hemmingsen up into 10th. Great defense from Philip Koenig, though. Just left a car-shaped space, and Hemmingsen went for it, and Hemmingsen gets the pass done. And now has 3 seconds to make up to Adrian Campfield ahead, as that's another screen freeze, I believe, from Jabinski. Going to be dropping him closer and closer to Hemmingsen and Koenig. Meanwhile, there's a battle is closing in for 3rd as Mikulak. As Jabinski, he's off the track. He's no front wing. He's going to be heading for the pit lane. Mateusz Jabinski down the pit lane. That's going to be an easy move for Hemmingsen, easy move for Koenig. And Lorenzo Amili is going to benefit off of this as well for drive game seat. And Herlock and Rick Van Doorn as well. So that's really strengthens Jabinski. He's in the pit lane. And in fact, Jabinski's out of the race, so a double retirement for PLS. That's unfortunate. For that, as Krupa locks up all 4 wheels, going to a bit of a 4-wheel drift. this battle for third place is really closing in. And in fact, Grek is closing in on Holmes, but Mikulak has gonna Menno Klont range, and Dawid Krupa is closing on both of those guys pretty fast. So could we be seeing AB Racing make a play for the double podium? Will Mikulak hold on, or will Krupa sweep up and get them all in a couple of laps? But those gaps are coming down. Speaking of gaps that are coming down, Hemmingson closing on Campfield. I think he may run out of laps first, though. Further down is Garrett de Vries moves up into 18th place. As unfortunately, in addition, we've also lost Hayden Rhodes, so now that means there's only 20 cars left running, as Yannick Malaika bringing the tail end of that, as in fact they're not too far ahead of the leaders, so we may be seeing lap traffic play a part in this race. I don't want to see it decided on track, but with the way this race is going, who knows what we're going to see. But what we are going to see is Kasper Mikulak hold third place into turn 1. Klont goes in a bit deep. A tighter line on the way into turn 3, but Mikulak seems to be struggling with a little bit of understeer at the moment. Could be the tire giving up the ghost a little bit. As he's made a small mistake there, and Klont happen here, but he's certainly going to be close enough to try something with the DRS into turn 10. But likewise is Krupa close enough to Klont, so we'll have to see if these positions remain the same at the end of this next straight. Through turn 9 as Mikulak runs way wide, drops 2 wheels in the gravel, as does Krupa behind, but Klont not going to be able to gain enough. Krupa closing right up on Klont under braking though. DRS zone and the big overtaking opportunity is going to be down into turn 1. The game that they're coming up to is going to be all about setup, I think, for Klont and for Krupa. Well, Mikulak tags that exit curb anti-cut. He's going to have lost a bit of momentum from that, but Klont doesn't seem to have such a run. May not pass Mikulak, but the slipstream and DRS may be enough to keep him ahead of Dawid Krupa. Down into turn 1, as sure enough, Mikulak gets there first. Positions changing in behind between Poom, Whitehouse, and Di Carvalho. Rodrigo Carvalho. I'm thinking of the wrong person there, as Klont's run wide through turn 3. Got 4 wheels out on the dust. Tires starting to give up, and we still got 6 laps left. Mikulak doing a good job of putting his car wherever Klont doesn't want it, although he does go in a bit too hot there. Menno Klont right on the back end of Mikulak. Nothing happening through 7, through the kink of 8. As in behind, Hemmingson has caught and passed Campfield, but we'll these guys in a minute, because the battle for third is going to be through the DRS zone. Klont's going to get closer, and I think Krupa tried to fake Klont out into doing something there, but these guys are almost tripping over each other on the way out of turn 10. They're bottled up behind Mikulak. 8 through 12 is going to be out on the AstroTurf into the chicane. I don't think anyone's going to go for it here, and sure enough they don't, but they all set up for an exit. Seeing, well, look at Mikulak. He's got the run on Klont. I think Klont got the weakest exit of the 3 of them. Krupa's got the DRS and slipstream on Klont. Klont's got it on Mikulak. Krupa's driven up to the gearbox of Menno Klont though. Pulled to the inside. Klont's using as much slipstream as he can. Krupa's going to stay in the inside though. Oh, Klont! Oh, and contact. Krupa goes round. That one might have been on Krupa. And I'll hold this position around the outside. Krupa's going to get out of the gravel, and through goes his teammate Martin Hemmingson. So Hemmingson up to 7th. Krupa all the way down to 8th. Campfield all over the back of him already in 9th. Has given Mikulak a bit of a breath of fresh air, actually. He's got a bit of a gap to Klont. These two, a repeat of race 1. Stephen Lexo battling with Sandeep Singh. Singh on the attack, Lexo on the defense. Only this time it's for 5th place and not 3rd, but I'm sure neither of these guys will mind. It's big points, and in a race like this, it'd be really valuable as Singh out into the gravel trap on turn 9. So I know there's a track limits exception there, but surely gravel's going to be slowing you down. Look back through the field, and we said Reese was struggling earlier. Reese has gone off. Oh, that's who we've lost. No, we haven't. Rick Van Dorn has gone up. Never mind. We said Reese was struggling earlier. In fact, it looks like Hygo Poom is the one struggling, as he's losing time hand over fist to George Whitehouse, who could snatch a point come the end of this race. And in fact, Poom almost takes the chicane layout. He's so understeery through turn 9. The tires on that Academy Series car, the number 100, they are, safe to say, pretty dead. And that should be Whitehouse closing up, but will to overtake Hygo Poom. Take that final point. Klont already under the rear wing of Kasper Michalak. I think it's clear at this point Klont's the faster of the two, but Michalak just putting his car in the right places. But defending by not defending, if that makes sense. As the cameraman with a good suggestion there. Everyone, if you're watching on the YouTube, go ahead and throw your driver in the driver of the day in the chat, and we'll have a look at that come the end of the race. As I'll say my piece on that as well, and we'll see who gets the most votes. So, Singh on the back of Lexo, Klont on the back of Michalak. Think, even though the gap is bigger, Klont versus Michalak is going to be a more interesting fight, because Singh was about this far behind Lexo all of race 1 and just seemed to top out too much earlier. He just hit a speed wall almost. It was like he pulled a parachute. Klont outbrakes himself into the chicane we're hearing. Does a good job of avoiding Michalak, but is going to drop back by nearly 0.8 of a second, so he's going to have some work to do to close back in. Just up ahead, Greg getting close to but it's Yannick Malaika. I thought Greg had closed right into Jonathan Holmes, but it's in fact the back marker. Still third, Klont still fourth, and Lexo pulls away from Singh on the start straight. Yeah, he had this problem. Oh, was it Malaysia? I want to say, or Baku, with did Sandeep Singh, where he'd slipstream up to people and just almost like he'd hit a wall in speed, just wouldn't go any faster. And as a result, he really struggled making passes, and it seems to be a similar thing today. Sandeep Singh up against Stephen Lexo. Singh and Lexo seem to both be catching the battle for third. Already back within, well, he never left the RS range, but he's already getting closer and closer to the back of Michalak. In fact, it's down to 0.6 only, so he's gained 0.2 already. Or through turn 10. Two nice ones pulling away from Canfield behind. There's a battle starting to form all the way back in 11th between Lorenzo Emili and Rick Van Dorn, but that doesn't seem to be happening quite yet. This battle on track is this 3rd and 4th and 5th and 6th battles, I guess you could say. Far back to make anything happen, but does have DRS and will be picking up a slight slipstream from Kasper Michalak. Half a second in it as they get into turn 1. Michalak's going to have to deal with Lexo's teammate Yannick Malaika in a few corners as they're going to lap the Razor driver. This Singh all over the back of Lexo, but just doesn't seem to have the straight line speed to make a move stick, although he will think about sending it on the inside of turn 4. Wisely backs out of it as Lexo came across the cover. That would have ended in a bit of an accident if Singh had. Sure enough, Malaika does indeed move over to the inside and slow down to let these 4 drivers go by. Through turn 9 again. But yeah, Singh seems to be running a lot wider than the others going through there. Maybe it's a strategy for him. As he's going to look to the inside of Lexo. He's going to brake late. Lexo's going to get to the apex first and cover him off though. But that is showing signs that Singh is going to look to try something as they're going to come around to start the final lap. Out the final chicane, going around the final corner. Line to start the final lap. Greg's still second, but the battle we need to watch is this 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. as Lexa goes very defensive already against Sandeep Singh. Singh's going to have the DRS. He's going to pull across into the slipstream. Lexo also has DRS off of Clont. Lexo's now pinned to the inside by Singh, being very smart. Clont tries to dummy Mikulak in front, and Lexo's hold it from Singh, and Singh's lost the rear end. Sandeep Singh's lost the rear end. He's going to get it out of the grass, out of the gravel. Hemmingson's going to close up. I don't think he's going to catch him, but Sandeep Singh back in the middle of no man's land. I think that's given Stephen Lexo a safe run into the top 5. So now the battle we have to focus on is Mikulak versus Clont. All over the back of Mikulak. Mikulak goes deep into 5. Doesn't quite give Clont an opportunity, as there was a position change further back. I think Amelie and Van Doorn battling. 4/10 in it seems between those guys. And Clont come up to turn 9. Through they go. Clont hits the inside curb. Oh, that could be costly. Clont into the inside curb, gets 2 wheels out in the gravel. That's going to not allow him to get the run. And in fact, Lexo's closing in on Clont. Defends well. Just double checking where Holmes is. He's coming into the final chicane, so we will have to cut to him in a moment to give him his due. Black and Clont and Lexo all on top of each other through the chicane. Looks like they're all going to stay single file, but Jonathan Holmes across the line to win the race for AB Racing. Terence Grech second, and Mikulak is going to hold on to third ahead of Menno Clont and Stephen Lexo as quick as that. Sandeep Singh in sixth, and rising from the dead, Martin Hemmingson finishes 7th ahead of Dawid Krupa in 8th. Both in mouse sports. Philip Koenig's going to come across the line in 9th place for RTD. He's got to be pretty happy with that. Campfield's going to finish 10th. And then to the line, it's going to be close. It's Lorenzo Amelie just holding off Rick Van Doorn, and Daniel Hurlock finishing on their tail in 13th. And here's the battle. Whitehouse and Hygo Poom. Poom off the track. Whitehouse around the outside of the chicane. Carvalho sideways in the background. Poom and Whitehouse, they've nudged. Oh, and Poom with a screen freeze. Hygo Poom with a screen freeze on the way out of the chicane. That's going to gift at 15th position to Rodrigo Carvalho. Whitehouse going to finish 14th. Carvalho is going to round out the podium in 15th, and Hygo Poom, you can tell, is not happy. He's going to be finishing 16th, as Ermis Rees has run out of fuel on the last lap in the other Academy car. That's heartbreaking. Garrett DeFries is going to round out our lead lap finishers any moment now in 17th for Calamity, with Alexander Ragoza and Yannick Malaika going to be finishing 1 lap down. Rees is classified in 18th, but 19 cars made it to the finish. But the first of those doing donuts in the repainted, rebranded AB Racing, that Jonathan Holmes is going to be extending the championship lead. Terence Grech, still big points, still going to be second in the championship, and a great defensive race from Kasper Mikulak, denying a podium to Menno Clont. He's got to be impressed with that, as will PZZW. Although I think, unfortunately to say, it may be more of a talking point of the early lap melee rather than the race here for race 2. We'll have to see what caused that and see what the disciplinary committee elect to do about that. But several drivers very happy, one of which, Lorenzo Amelie. Drive Game Seat, they've not got too many points at all on the board this year. Lorenzo Amelie comes in as a reserve driver, manages to pick up 11th place. So credit to him for surviving this carnage and scoring some nice points in the car a bit more often as a result of this. So, have to wait a minute as the cameraman comes out with a donut joke that would impress David Carter. As final few drivers coming back in to finish the race. Let's just have a look who you voted as driver of the day. I think I've missed most of that. We got 1 vote for Patrick Roshak and none for anybody else. So Patrick Roshak is declared GPVWC Community's driver of the day from this race for a fair racing team with 1 vote. We'll try and round up a few drivers, grab a couple of interviews as look to wrap this up. So the first driver we are going to talk to, I think, fair to say, Say was driver of the day for his race one performance was Stephen Lexo. Stephen, that
Thank
was
you.
a great qualifying and backed up with a fantastic defensive drive in the first race. What was your secret? Talk us through it.
My quali lab wasn't actually that good. I was pretty pissed with it at the end, so I think 2-3 tenths would have been possible in the last sector alone. So yeah, but still, I think Sandeep got his lap deleted, so so I qualified in third. So, and for the whole race, he was just in my neck. Pretty fair driving, not doing any dive bombs, so fair play to him. His limiter was just too short. He had the same limiter as me at 278. So yeah, that cost him. And in the second race, that one was fucking crazy as well. I got torpedoed in turn 2 by Herdog, I think, who went over the anti-cut.
Oh,
And
yes, we saw that. So
yeah, the suspension was a little damaged, but it was okay. And to finish P5 at the end of this race as well is just, I mean, before that, I think 6th was my best result. So I'm happy with it, with that race.
I'll say this season I've noted on a few times that you've shown flashes of brilliance, but have never managed to put the event together. I think now we can consider this an event put together. So, aiming for the race win next time out.
Monaco?
Yeah, Monaco's next.
I
Anything can
think the
happen at
most one
Monaco.
guys. I think the most one guys will be very very strong there as well. So I'm not liking my chances against them. Their only really weakness is tire wear, as we saw at the end of the first race, where I got closer by almost a second per lap because the tires were just destroyed. But I have to apologize to Sandeep. He was in my dirty app for 1.5 races, as well in the second race for the last couple of laps, and I think he was really pissed off at me at some point. Yeah.
Eventually, you get tired of looking at the same old rear wing and the guy
I
in your
mean,
position there, where people just get stuck behind you and they memorize every little detail on the back of that rear wing. But anyway, congratulations on your results. That's easily going to be your best event of the season so far, and we wish you the best of luck for Monaco.
thank you.
And as we drop Stephen out of the booth, we have to say a quick apologies for the swearing on that, as we are going to now bring in the
Bye.
driver who finished second in the second race. Based on my quick maths, has consolidated his second place in the championship. It's Terence Greck.
Hey there, Mike.
Hey, Terence. Great. Actually, bit of a I would say poor qualifying from you, but then just made up places all through race one. How do you feel that went?
Yeah, as I saw after the race, unfortunately, I mean after qualifying, I saw that I did the wrong setup, unfortunately, so that's why I went that bad. Yeah, then at least I managed to do at least good in race one. Unfortunately, on that contact with Danya, because I think I could go on sixth place. But yeah, eighth place, not that bad for race one.
And you say about the contact, swings and roundabouts every cloud with a silver lining. It did give you a good reverse grid position, and you made it through the melee and got a very strong second place.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, for the second race, I was quite happy at least. Then I changed for the right setup, and yeah, I did get a great pace, but fortunately not to get to Jonathan. So he did a great race. But yeah, second place, I was quite happy. So yeah.
As in consolidating yourself second in the championship. Obviously, there's still a long way to go. Are you thinking you're going to be able to catch Jonathan and take the lead of the championship?
We'll try to. It's not easy because even there are some faster guys as well. But yeah, we'll try our best and see what will finish end up at the end of the championship.
Well, congratulations on your results today, and best of luck for the next time out, Terence. As we are going to wrap up the broadcast with a final interview with the race 1 winner with Dawid Krupa.
Yeah, hello, hi.
That was a fantastic race between you and your teammate Martin Hemmingson in race 1. Quite clear there was no team orders, and we even noted that you guys banged wheels a couple of times. Is that just coming from the confidence you have with your teammate that you can race that hard?
Well, I mean, yeah, actually we get along very well, so the same things happen on the track, that happen on outside the track, so we are free to fight wheel to wheel, bang the wheels as you said. So yes, I'm happy that we are able to do so finally, with any penalties at the start. Yeah, I'm very happy to be honest. Again, great fight, great result for the team. First of all, a lot of points for us. So yeah, the main goal is to catch everyone in front, and we'll push hard to achieve that.
And so I've done some quick maths for the drivers' championship, not for the teams though. Although I have said Mouse won really poor race 1, but then you've been the team to beat from round 2 onwards. So that's gonna definitely have put you
Yeah,
guys
I
up
mean,
for.
R1 was sort of different because I had very big issues with my internet connection, and I think it was Bentley, our reserve driver. He didn't actually got to get too much time to get used to the car, so he wasn't at his best during R1. But anyway, yeah, as you said, after Australia, it was Sepang. So from Sepang onwards, it's looking pretty nice. And I hope it will stay like that for as long as possible.
And so I personally enjoy watching the Mouse 1 drivers. You know, you guys drive really, really great to watch. And I'm hoping you guys do stay up towards the front. And we'll have to see how. I think the battle this season might be AB Racing versus Mouse 1. But we'll have to see how that develops further on. So thank you for your time, Dawid.
Thank you.
And congratulations on on Martin's results today. So that is going to be it for driver interviews. We are going to wrapping this up any moment soon. Just remember to tune back in tomorrow as James Kirk and Corey Dyer will be around to talk to you guys through the World GT round from Portimao.